guys, it's Kelly and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my February wrap-up. February month was really good, guys. I read 21 books in total. Some of these books were like in a series, but altogether it's 21. The first book I read in February month was none other than Jane Eyre from Charlotte Bronte. Guys, this book was amazing. I gave this book a 4.5 stars. I know that it's a 5-star read, guys, but I just wanted to, selfishly, I held back that 0.5 because I know this book is going to be a book that I'm going to be rereading yearly, all right? Charlotte Bronte, obliterated me in this book. This book had a bit of everything, guys. This book is one of the books that I could tell people, you know what? You don't get to place this book in a box. You don't say this book is a romance, so this book is a mystery. This book is everything, period. You want a little mystery? Here, read Jane Eyre. You want some love? Read Jane Eyre. You want some gothic, kind of creepy, airy stuff? Read Jane Eyre. The West Indian part in me, you want to hear the talk a little bit about, the West Indies and stuff? Read Jane Eyre. This book had everything, you understand? And I was here for it. I love the pacing of the book. I love all the characters of the book. I love how well Charlotte Bronte wrote the book and its characters. We had people showing up halfway through, 3/4 way through of this book, and all these characters to me were fully developed and well fleshed out. By the ending up of the book, I was sad because I was sad for it to end. I wanted more. Again, this is going to be one of my top reads for 2023, and I know it is one of my favorite reads of all times. The only downfall is that I took this long to read it. If you haven't read Jane Eyre as yet, guys, here, please do. It's wonderful and I can't stop raving about it. And yes, this was the perfect book for me to start February with. The next book that I read for February month, guys, was none other than my boy Cslewis, An Experiment in Criticism. I gave this a 4.5 stars, guys. Obviously it's Cslewis, but more than that, this was just I think this particular book was exquisite. Let me give you a summary of what the book was about. The book basically is about why do we read literature and how do we judge it. C.S. Lewis' classic analysis springs from the convention that literature exists for joy of the reader and that books should be judged by the kind of reading they invite. Crucial to his notion of judging literature is the commitment to the laying aside expectations and values extraneous to the work in order to approach it with an open mind. And again, in the classic C.S. Lewis form, I think he systematically just laid out his points, and I was just like nodding my head. Yeah, I agree. Couldn't say it like how you said it, but I agree with that, So this is a book definitely I would recommend for everyone to pick up at some point. The next book I read in January was Depossessed by Elif Bottom. I don't have a physical copy of this book, so I'll put a picture up either here or there for you guys to see. I rated this 3-star. It was enjoyable. This particular author, I want to continue with her works. I think I have another of her books here. I think The Idiot, I have it here. And I also want to get Either Or from her because, again, the experience was really nice. And I think she's a author that I want to continue to explore. Let's move on. The next book that I read was The Greek Way by Edith Hamilton. This book, guys, I enjoyed it. Like I said before in my past videos, I'm dipping my toes into mythology, Greek, Roman, and all that sort of good stuff. So I picked it up I enjoyed it. It had a lot of, I learned a lot. Before I started to read the retellings, I wanted to kind of get the facts behind the different myths or mythologies. The next book that I read was My Religion by Leo Tolstoy. I rated this book 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Basically, this book was just telling, Tolstoy was just telling us what he believed, why he believed it, and basically he gave a kind of critique of the church institution that was in Russia at that point in time. I found it to be very fascinating and enjoyable. The next book I read was Verity by Colleen Hoover. Whew, this book, guys, now for those who watched my previous video, this was a 5-star prediction for me. Basically, I predicted this to be 5 stars for me because the one book that I read from Colleen Hoover years ago, I absolutely love that book. She destroyed me in that book. I love her writing style, so I thought I was going to get that same impact with this. Not so much. And hear me out. The book overall, I enjoyed it. I gave this a 3 stars. I only gave it a 3 stars because the main character, I just couldn't believe anything that, you know, they were trying to present to me about this main character. The main character was not properly fleshed out, in my opinion. All right. Verity, I got. Weird enough, as problematic as Verity's character was, I understood what Colleen Hoover was doing with it. So I personally didn't have a problem with that. I know this book is filled with a lot of triggers for a lot of people. It didn't bother me that much because I went into it knowing that. However, on the flip side to that, you know, the supposing heroine of the story, she just wasn't believable. I have a separate video ranting about this, ranting about that character. That's what pulled down the score for me, with not the, you know, not Verity herself, but the supposing protagonist. But if I stay too long here, I'll just start to fume again, and no, I don't want to do that. 3 stars, but definitely I will be picking up more of Colleen Hoover's book. I still love her writing style. This was just, you know, it didn't work out well for me. Switching gears now, guys, we're going into manga. I read 3 volumes of the Witch Hat Atelier, all of them 5 stars. Books 1, 2, and 3. Absolutely loved it and can't wait to continue on with this series. The next book on my list here that I read in February is none other than The Brothers Karamazov from my boy Dostoevsky. 5-star read, guys. This was this book was everything. It was everything. I don't know if I go to start talking about this book. This video will go on and on and on. All I gotta tell you, if you guys have not picked up this one as yet, pick it up, guys. While I was reading this book, I mean, besides from the constant underlining and tabbing, you know, I would constantly have to pause and meditate about what was being said. Guys, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I will put up a review for this book separately. Enjoyed it immensely. One of my top reads for 2023. All right, let's move on. The next book I read for February month, this book was a book that I got from my library. I never read anything from this author. I was introduced to this author by this book here, and I fell in love with the book and the author. This book was Once Upon a Wardrobe by Patty Callahan. Oh, guys, I knew kind of going in that you know, if this wasn't a 5-star read for me, it would have been a 4-star read, because any book that has C.S. Lewis in it, or anything concerning C.S. Lewis in it, or about the stories or his life, I know I would enjoy it, because again, love C.S. Lewis as an author, as a person. I think we would have been best friends if, you know, he was alive. Yeah, I can dream. Anywho's, this particular story was based on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We have these the two protagonists basically in the story, which is George, an 8-year-old child with a heart condition. He's going to die. They tell us up that front, and his 17-year-old sister. The brother, he loves The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and when he hears that his sister, the college that she's going to, the university that she's going to, that Cslewis is a lecturer or a teacher there, he asks her to find out from Cslewis, is Narnia real? All right, so there begins our story, guys, and oh, it was a hell of a story. I absolutely enjoyed it. 5 stars. This is another book that I will push on people. It's going, I know this book has earned its place in one of my top reads so far for 2023. Obviously, guys, I want to read a little more from this author. All right, so I've been, ordering some of her books via the library to read some more of her works. All right, the next books that I read for February month, this author also is a new author to me. I have never read any of her works, but in the Libby app, I got her 2 short stories, which is The Birds and Don't Look Now. That's from Daphne du Maurier. I absolutely enjoyed both of the stories. They were short stories, guys. The Birds was like a gothic fantasy, and the Don't Look Up was a mystery / suspense. I enjoyed them, gave both of them 3 stars respectively, and yes, I want to continue on with this particular author also. I have on hold in my library Jamaica in Rebecca and my cousin Rachel from this particular author. I wet my toes with her, and I liked what I read, and it was intriguing enough for me wanting to go on with her. The next book that I read in February, guys, was Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest. This is a short play by him. As you guys know, I'm slowly working through Oscar Wilde's work. This I rated 3 stars. I mean, it had me, literally laughing out loud. It was really good. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to continue slowly going through this particular author's work. The next books that I read, guys, was from the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. This omnibus has 7 books. I read the first 5 books in it. Absolutely enjoyed it, but let me give you all the ratings of the different books. The first book, which is The Magician's Nephew, I rated it 4.5 stars. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, 5 stars. The Horse and His Boy, 3.75 stars. And the last book that I read in this year is Prince Caspian. I rated that 4 stars. So clearly I'm having a fantastic time in the Chronicles of Narnia. Can't wait to read the next 2 books inside of here. After reading the Brothers Karamazov, guys, I needed a little more Dostoevsky. So I checked on my shelf and looked for one of his smaller works to read, and I picked up The Double. All right, I wasn't disappointed. I find The Double and the Brothers Karamazov kind of go hand in hand. The themes are similar, but actually most of Dostoevsky has similar theme. It has a similar thread running through most of his books. That double self, that double life, or double man, if you want to call it that. This book, well, not this particular book, but because this book has 5 books in it, one of the books in it is The Double. Absolutely enjoyed it. This book was just about a government official. He wakes up one morning to find that, he encounters a very unpleasant version of himself. The guy is identical, is a double ganger to him. And it seems as though the double, if you want to call it that, is taking over every aspect of his life. I thoroughly enjoyed this one, guys. I gave The Double a 4 stars. Absolutely enjoyed it. Dostoevsky, again, there's another author that can't do no wrong for me. I love their writing style. I love the themes and the truths that they convey. Yeah, I had a blast with this, and I can't wait to read more from this author. So the next thing that I read for February, guys, was an article by Frederick Douglass. The name of the article is "Why is the Negro Lynched?" Now, you can get this article free online, and you can also get the audiobook on LibriVox free. It's a quick read, guys, but it's a powerful read. It's a must read. Frederick Douglass, always, anytime I pick up anything from him, I'm always blown away of how articulate of a man he was. It's always a sobering thing to me when I read about, my past, my ancestors, because again, I am so many generations removed from them. I don't or have not encountered any of the things that they have had to endure. So I understand the place of privilege that I sit from, the things that I enjoy in my life and stuff. Sometimes I take it for granted, not thinking that, my ancestors never got to enjoy, all the niceties, if you wanted to call it that, of life, the basic pleasures of life. They were denied that. But what they fought for, I now and my generation to come, we have reaped the benefits of that, and I'm very grateful. So reading these types of articles remind me of where we were and where we are now, and always live in a very grateful and humble state. All right, so again, if you're so inclined, guys, I would really urge you guys to pick up this piece. It's short, it's relevant, it's powerful, and I think it's definitely necessary. Okay, moving on. The last book that I read for February month, guys, was none other than J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Ring trilogy. This is the 3 books bind up into one. I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. For those who have read Lord of the Ring, what could I add to this? This book, guys, I thoroughly enjoyed it. This book I know is going to be, a book that I will constantly reread. I am glad that I finally physically read this book, because I never read the book, so it was a wonderful experience reading the actual, book, and just encountering back all those beloved characters of the story that we were introduced to: Gandalf and Aragorn and Frodo and Samwise and Pippin, and it could just go on and on. This story, I didn't want to come out of it. It was absolutely amazing. Obviously, 5 stars. I do not regret the time and investment given to this book. Definitely, it's going to be one of my favorite reads of all times. That's it, guys. That's the 21 books that I read in February. Like I said in the beginning, I had a fantastic reading month. I'm just praying and hoping that March month follows likewise. In the books that I shared with you guys, have you guys read any of these books, and what are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comment section how your reading month passed. And until we meet again, guys, you know how I do it. Stay safe and God bless. Bye.